Yeah, you're racking up all the stats, and that should lead to a ton of offers. Not so fast. Today I'm going to tell you why stats really don't matter in the game of college football recruiting on the Gridiron Stud Show. Hey, I'm talking to you. Recruiting advice for everyone. It's the Gridiron Stud Show. I get it. You're absolutely having a career year on the field. You're piling up the sacks or the tackles or the interceptions or the rushing yards, receiving yards, or passing yards. So the colleges should be beating down your door. Well, today we're going to get into that topic as to why stats may not really mean as much as you think they do in the game of college football recruiting. But before we get into today's topic, I've got a question for you. Who's the best high school football player you've ever seen on the field? Go ahead and give that person all the love that you need to give them right now. Drop that in the comments section for me. It'd be interesting to see that. Also, if you like this video, and I know that you will, please go ahead and hit the like button. Smash that like button for me. I've got a lot of great stuff coming up for you here on the channel. And as well, subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the next great videos that I have coming your way. So why don't the stats really matter? It's as simple as this. The competition is different. There's so many high schools in so many cities and so many states across the country. Stats can be a bit of a stat that's misleading. We all know, and no offense to anyone in Indiana, that the talent and competition in Indiana is a little bit different than the talent and competition in, say, Florida or Georgia or Texas or California. If you happen to be a guy that's killing it, let's say in Indiana, and you've racked up 2,000 rushing yards, or you're in some small private school league and you're not really going up against the best competition, your 2,000 yards that you've racked up rushing is not going to really give a true insight into what it is you may be able to do at the University of Indiana or Iowa or Ohio State, where you're playing against some of the best guys in the country that have been pulled from all over the country. That competition is not going to be the same as what you are currently facing right now in your maybe small private school league or in a league that's in a state or city where there's not the toughest of competition. Yes, you're good, but it's tough for a college football recruiter to get a read if they just go by stats, because you just may be on a team that's way better than all of the other teams. It might not even be just you. You're good, and your offensive line is so much better than any of the competition that you're going up against that you and many other people could go behind there and rack up a bunch of yards. Again, and that's not to take anything away from you. You have to be good if you're rushing for 2,000 yards. But just how good are you? It's tough for college football recruiters to get a bead on just what you'd be able to do at their college just solely based on your stats. The number one reason for that is you just don't know the competition that the guy is going up against. There are far more high schools playing than there are colleges. As you go from each level, the amount of players starts to shrink. From youth to high school, it shrinks. From high school to college, the amount of players shrink, and that means the players get better and better. So you do just have to understand, and the bottom line is that college football players are going to be better than high school football players, and that's just the bottom line of it. The second major reason why stats really don't matter in college football recruiting is that college football recruiting is really all about projection. It's not so much about what you're doing or what you are right now, but what you're going to be in 2, 3, 4 years from now. And that's probably the hardest thing for high school football players to grasp when they're seeking a scholarship. The college football recruiter that comes out has to look at you as a 16, 17, or 18-year-old and try to project as to what you would be at 19 or 20 years old on a college football field going up against the kind of competition that they face. So with that being the case, they've got to do a lot of things. They've got to take a look, number one, at your size and your weight. I know a lot of guys don't like that, but that is the case. What are you going to project into in terms of growing? If they get a feeling that you've maxed out, you're really not going to grow much more, they have to say to themselves, what would a player at his current size do in our conference? Let's say you're going into Big Ten or something like that, where it can be very physical, or the SEC, where it can be very physical. If you're a guy that's not that fast and you're going to a conference where speed is everything, what's going to happen if you don't have that speed out on the field? You may survive, but are they willing to take a chance on that? So it really is all about projection, and that doesn't have a lot to do with your stats. The stats you rolled up against XYZ high school is really not a part of the projection for you at the next level, in the college level. Yes, it does show that you're able to play the game, but it does not necessarily translate every time. There have been a lot of high school quarterbacks that I've seen pass for 4,000 and 5,000 yards, and they're just not guys that would project to do the same at the next level. And some have been given that chance at the next level and it just didn't work out for them. So it's all about projection. That's why your stats at the high school level may not matter as much as you think they do. And one last reason why your stats in high school may not matter, a lot of guys end up changing positions. A lot of times a guy is recruited for a different position than he's playing in high school. There have been a ton of high school running backs that have ended up being college football linebackers. There have been plenty of college safeties that were high school quarterbacks. And the list goes on and on. There were guys that had a ton of sacks as high school defensive ends or defensive linemen that ended up being offensive linemen or tight ends. So the fact that you racked up all those stats in that particular position, when the school may be trying to recruit you at another position, doesn't really translate into something they should be paying a whole lot of attention to. Now, let me say this. I'm not trying to discount the fact that stats aren't a factor. They're just not as much of a factor as many guys think they are. I've seen a lot of guys who are piling up stats and they're really killing it on the high school football field, and you should do that. You need to do everything that you can to help your team win a championship, because having that championship attitude and adding to your team's success is a rather big part of the equation for college football recruiters. However, those stats that you're piling up come with a grain of salt, let me say. Because as I pointed out to you, there's several reasons why those stats don't actually matter. And they boil down to different competition. There's so many high schools playing out there. What league were you playing in? The other part is it's all about projection, height, weight, speed, size. College coaches have to try and think what you'll be 2, 3, 4 years from now. And the final part is, hey, a lot of times they're not even recruiting you for the position it is that you're currently playing. Defensive ends become tight ends. Quarterbacks become safeties. Running backs become linebackers, and so on and so on. So the stats you're piling up in high school at your current position right now don't necessarily mean that you are going to be that great at this other position that they think you're going to play. Sounds a little crazy, but that's just the way that it is. All right? It's about projection, and the stats are not that big a part of it. All right? So if you're out there piling up stats and you think that's enough, I'm here to tell you, watch some of the other videos that I've put on this channel that gives you an idea of the things college football coaches need to see from you, because I'm going to say it to you again, it's probably the third time I've said it, it's really all about projection. You have to present yourself as a college football player and not just the guy that's really good in high school, because the guy that's just really good in high school does not necessarily mean he's going to be good in college. We've seen it all the time. Great high school players that just couldn't cut it at the college level. So they have to be able to see you into the future, and I definitely have videos on this channel that give you the tools you need to present yourself as that type of player so that colleges can recruit you. I don't care how far you get in this game, you will always look back fondly on your high school. So your high school days, your high school football playing days, you're gonna look back fondly on those. So do everything that you can to win the championship, get in the playoffs, win it all, because you know those are memories that you're building. But I don't want you to get to the end and say, I have all these stats, so that should mean offers. Doesn't always mean that. You have to build yourself up in a way that you can be projected as a college football player. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and smash that like button. Be sure to give it a share. Let your friends in on this information. And by all means, subscribe. Got a whole lot of videos and informative information coming up for you in the next few weeks and months. So make sure you subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified the next time I put out a video like this one. All right, hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, Gridiron Studs, be seen.